Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's Dealer On webinar. Facebook organic reach is dead. That's right, 5 tips to succeed in the afterlife. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by Dealer On. And for anyone who isn't familiar with Dealer On, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, and we're best known for our amazing SEO, the absolute best customer service, and the highest converting website designs in the industry, including the brand new Chameleon responsive website platform. We're so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that Dealer On is still the only company in the industry bold enough to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. So does your website company guarantee you a 50% lift in leads or your money back? Well, then maybe you should check us out at our gorgeous brand new Dealer On website at dealeron.com. And we have a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Tim Lage as our presenter today. Tim Lage is the founder and CEO of Repair Rep, an automotive-specific agency partnering with car dealers nationwide, providing reputation management, social management, Facebook advertising, listings repair, and brand protection. Now, Tim, he founded his company in 2013 to solve the mystery behind delivering measurable value on social and reputation properties, while also repairing brand and data inconsistencies on directories, GPS systems, and listing citations. By using analytics and unique tracking techniques, along with a no-shortcuts approach, RepairRep is able to apply a proven formula that protects, monitors, engages, repairs, and converts. Prior to starting his agency, Tim invested 15 years helping dealerships succeed online as an executive for several major automotive vendors, and an additional 7 years working inside car dealerships in a variety of capacities and roles. His unique background in automotive, paired with his working knowledge of everything digital, combines to make him and his company, RepairRep, a source dealers can trust. Tim is a highly respected member of the automotive community, and he can be reached at tim@repairrep.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, well, we're going to try and respond to you by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference. And please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our friends at RepairRep, they are giving away a fantastic prize today on the webinar. One of you very lucky webinar attendees is going to win an Apple Watch. What? You heard me. Only one of you lucky webinar attendees is going to be scoring this totally cool prize today. You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, though. All you have to do is stay tuned for the details after Tim's presentation, and you could be scoring this awesome prize today. Also, at the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. So fill it out because we're always looking for great feedback from our audience. Today, we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all those completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. And hey, do you tweet much? Well, you know what? We hope you do. We'd love to see what you have to say about today's presentation. So please tag us in it. You can use hashtag DealerOnWebby. I'm at Eliana Raggio. And Tim is at Tim Lage or at Repair Rep LLC. We look forward to seeing what you're saying. So let's get started. Let's hear about how Facebook organic reach is dead and the 5 tips to succeed in the afterlife. Tim Lage, how you doing? I just got to tell you before we get started, I know you have a lot to get to, but I have so many people who have reacted quite favorably to the giveaway today of the Apple Watch. So we will be getting to that. I will tell you, audience, the giveaway question is not an easy one. So make sure you take copious notes. Pay attention because it is not an easy question for such a high-value prize. So, Tim, thank you so much. Now, Tim, as I said earlier, is a first-time presenter with us here at the Dealer On webinar series. But you know what? We've known you for a while. So I'm so happy you're here today and very, very grateful that you picked such an interesting topic. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Eliana, and wow, I really appreciate that wonderful introduction. It is probably the nicest one I've ever got, so thank you so much for that.
You're very kind. Now, this is a very provocative title that you have. Facebook organic reach is dead? What? So what we want to know is what are the kinds of things you're going to be talking about to our wonderful audience today?
Right. So we'll get right to that. And just to clarify, by organic reach is dead, I want to make sure, and I'm sure that everybody on the phone probably understands what I mean by organic reach, but it's the same as if you look at Google before there was pay-per-click. You could reach people organically, like Dealer-On's websites provide great SEO, search engine optimization. That's how you reach people organically. The other way, just to really generalize things, is to pay to reach your audience. So what we're talking about here, and I've been monitoring this over the past 12 months, is the decline of Facebook's organic reach in their news feed to at or below 6% reach. And we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper. But what that means, just in translation, is if you have, just an example, 1,000 fans on your Facebook page, you divide that by 6%. On the average post that you put on your Facebook page, you're going to reach 60 users. So we're going to cover that among some other primary objectives here as we go through this presentation. One of the things we're going to cover is simply curating, organizing, and posting engaging content. This can be a struggle. It sounds simple, but it can be a struggle to actually find what exactly do you want to post, what content is engaging. Besides posting pictures, which I think are wonderful, people, new car owners and their pictures with the salesperson next to the car and the likes of that, those are fantastic, but you also need to post a variety of content. So we're going to show you some tools that we like to use for that. We're also going to talk about converting social wanderers into website visitors. Let's just face it, Facebook has been around long enough, and we've all seen enough funny cat videos and pictures on Facebook to know that people will linger on Facebook for as long as they're allowed to, as long as there's stuff to look at. We want to take those people off of the wandering aspect and take them to your website, which is the highest converting internet property that you guys have out there, as fast as possible. So we'll talk about how we do that. A topic that I don't hear much about in the industry, but it's about providing customer service via social networks to your customers or to your prospects even. You'll learn that very few dealerships, let alone any business, are actually doing this or doing this well. So we're going to talk about just some basic things you can put into place for free so you can get notified when people are talking about you, and then, of course, engage them back in conversation. We're also going to talk about Facebook advertising to reach your local audience, local notices in all caps, because that's all we're going to focus on throughout this presentation. You're probably going to get sick of me saying the word local. As a matter of fact, some of you, if it is the afternoon, you can make a drinking game out of it. Every time I say local, have a drink on me. So, Eliana has already started. I joke. I don't know if she has. And finally,
yes,
we're going to do
me and my Poland spring water over here. We're going to have a doozy of a time.
I know, me and my fourth cup of coffee. So if I'm talking fast, it's because of the coffee. It's not how I normally am.
Blame it on the caffeine.
I don't know. We're also going to have a Q&A at the end, which I encourage everybody. If you have any questions at all, we're going to cover, a whole lot of content here, especially when we get to the Facebook advertising. I could spend hours and hours and hours talking about just that one topic alone. So I'm trying to give you all just some tips and basic hints and some services you can use for free to accomplish everything you see here on the objectives. So let's talk about the facts first. And I promise you throughout this presentation, I will throw up some stats, but I'm not a huge presenter in the way that I like to just show stat after stat after stat. I prefer to tell a story, but some of these stats are so relevant that we just have to get them out there in the open. And you might know some of these. So the first being that more than 1.3 billion, I think the last I heard today was 1.4 billion, if that makes that much of a difference. People use Facebook to connect with what matters to them, and 64% visit every day. This is the really cool one right here. People visit Facebook when they're open to discovering. That's unique right there. More than 850 million people visit Facebook every day. 700 million of them are on mobile. So just think about that number for a second. That's over 80 or 82% are coming from a mobile device, and that's going to be critical, and you're going to hear me use that being mobile-focused throughout this presentation as well. I mentioned this at the beginning. This is, I think, the title of, or at least part of the title of this presentation. Less than 6% of your fans see your content organically. We're going to dig into that and find out what that means and what you can do to increase that number. And finally, this one might get some of you guys a little bit. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but having 10,000 Facebook fans no longer equates to a better or more successful page. As a matter of fact, I don't know that it ever equated to a better or more successful page. I'll tell you this when it comes to that particular bullet point. It's nice to have a tremendous amount of fans, but again, I think it's more critical to have local fans, again, have a drink, local fans that are engaging you, that are engaged with your brand. I've seen too many examples of the accounts that I've taken over at RepairRep where Facebook pages have had an abnormally high number of fans. I was looking at one last week that had 162,000 fans for an Acura store in the middle of the country someplace. I'll leave it at that. But what has happened in those, almost every single time is the dealer has either knowingly or unknowingly, usually it's unknowingly, paid for untargeted fans from around the world. They're not local. And then you have a bunch of fans that aren't engaged with your brand at all, or even if they were engaged with your brand, they're located across the country someplace. So that's critical. We'll talk about that. And this is a quote from Facebook, directly from Facebook for Business on their URL down there. Facebook is far more effective when businesses use paid media to help meet their goals. And yes, that's some foreshadowing. Before we move on, I just added this slide in the past couple of days because there's an article about this and a bunch of reputable sources, and I think we just need to address this up front so that you guys are aware. It's just kind of a news alert, if you will. Is Facebook Geddon finally here with the big hatchet? And I apologize for the hatchet. I've been watching a lot of, or binge watching The Walking Dead recently, so that's kind of what I'm into right now, lots of blood and zombies and stuff.
Okay, I'm totally not into that, but I do appreciate the Facebook Geddon approach.
Facebook Geddon. Yeah. It is close, and these are the three news feed algorithm changes that they released, and I'll explain them briefly. So the first is Facebook users will now be able to see more than one newsfeed post from the same source in a row. So translation, or just saying it in a different way, Facebook's algorithm previously prevented this from happening. Facebook says it's relaxing this rule, quote unquote, so that users who don't see much content in their feeds can start seeing more. Well, potentially this could be good news for car dealers. It could be bad news. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think they've actually released these changes yet. As you see up here, coming soon is all Facebook would say. Imagine that. But look for that to come out soon, and I would consider that a neutral change for you guys at this point. The second one, Facebook will start prioritizing newsfeed content posted by friends. So Facebook says about this, and this is a quote, the second update tries to ensure that content posted directly by friends you care about, like photos, videos, status updates, or links, will be higher in the newsfeed, so you're less likely to miss it. It says you'll still see content from news organizations and Facebook pages, that's you guys, you enjoy though, but what they're basically saying is whatever their friends actually post are going to beat whatever you guys post organically every single time. So that's not very good news for businesses with Facebook pages, which is probably everybody out there. And finally, Facebook will begin hiding posts that say what your friends have liked or commented on. This sounds like to me that it could really diminish a publisher's secondhand reach. The update will make stories appear lower in the news feed or not at all, Facebook says, and that's another quote from Facebook. So when you go out there and you post an engaging article or post on Facebook, your friends have liked that or a friend of a friend has liked that, those are going to be pushed even further and further down the news feed. And I used to actually have a whole presentation I did on something called social employee advocacy where I encourage, and I still do encourage it, there's no harm in it, having your staff, especially your sales staff that has a large stake in the game, to go out there and engage with your own Facebook page proactively so that they share the stories that either you're paying a vendor to post for you or you're spending time posting yourself. Have those salespeople engage with those posts and share them out to their networks. I still think there's value in that, but we'll see how this affects everything down the road. So that's all the news and the facts and everything. Now we're going to jump into the first objective that I was talking about, and that's curating and posting. So there are a lot, probably too many to mention, of free tools out there to help you find and post relevant and engaging content. I'm just going to talk about three right here. I'm really only going to focus on one at the end of the day. But one's called InnoReader, the other's called DigReader, and the other one's called Feedly. And again, these aren't the only three. There's lots of ones out there. You guys may be using some, and I'd love to hear your stories at the end if you know one that is better than the one I'm talking about. I don't claim to know everything. I like to learn something every day. But something these all have in common is they're all free, right? So you don't have to pay to use them. They all have paid versions, which offer a few more analytics and a few more tools to them. But I use them all for free. I use one for free, I should say. These tools will allow you to bring in relevant content for your brand from all over the web via RSS. So RSS is called Real Simple Syndication. That's what it stands for. And you've seen that all over the web. Your websites probably have RSS links on there. And all that means is that if you follow via RSS feed, say a blog, a news blog post or something, every time that blog posts a new article, it will automatically show up in your feed. And what these tools do is aggregate all the feeds you want to into one nice, neat place to put everything. So it's really nice. I'm going to show you how that works in a second. Once you've found a story that is appropriate for your branding goals, these tools allow you to share to multiple social networks. So built into these tools inherently is the ability to go out there and go, hey, well, this is a cool article. Maybe you're an Acura store and it's an article or a review or a road test on the new Acura TLX. Well, you can just simply click a button, connect your networks, and share it right from this tool. And just remember, as we talk about curating and finding posts to share, it's so important to curate and post a blend of content, not just all the same thing. It's okay to do advertising type posts. I know it's hard to stay away from those. Being car dealers, I get it. I was a car dealer. But we also want entertainment style posts, informative posts, and more than anything, we want to try to convert everything into, not everything, but most things into a click onto your website. Like I said, we're going to focus on one. I think Feedly is the easiest and fastest tool to organize and post. So we could talk about all of them all day long. Let's just look at this one. And this is my own Feedly account. I've logged in here and blurred out a few things, but this is for a Hyundai dealer. And it pulls in a bunch of different news that I have set for it to pull in for anything related to Hyundai, right? And right here, I've highlighted the links where I've expanded this story about the next Hyundai Elantra to debut at the LA Auto Show. I expanded. I can read the story. I can go check out the whole story, look at the pictures, and at the end of the day, I can share it right from here. And this is where it's interesting, is up here in this red square, and I'm going to go ahead and magnify this for you. This is where it shows all the content that I'm curating for Hyundai at this point for this store. So you'll see that I use Autoblog Hyundai, Hyundai Google News. So I have a Google News search out there that searches for anything related to Hyundai vehicles. And of course, I go right to the manufacturer for the Hyundai website, sales press releases, blogs, media kits. All that stuff gets pulled in there. And when I took the snapshot, there was 197 recent potential stories, articles, pictures, videos, you name it, that I can share out there socially, right? So you want to make sure that when you go out there and you are curating data, to check your OEM media sites, check the OEM YouTube channels. If you're Hyundai, look at the Hyundai YouTube channel. They post stuff up there all the time. Every brand does. All the OEM associated sites. So, for example, if you're a Dodge dealership, why wouldn't you go out there and also follow everything Mopar related? And if you're a Dodge store, you know what Mopar is, or if you're a car guy, you know what Mopar is. Also, something that's not on here that you could curate is local news. If you want to become kind of a local news source in your area and provide current events that are going on, you can certainly bring in those feeds in there. At the end of the day, the more you put in there, the more choices you're going to have, and you can organize everything in this and post it out there. So it's a nice free tool to do that.
Hey, Tim, we had a comment that came in from Heather, and she says, hey, those curate and post tools, they seem to be like Promo Box, and that's Promo Box with 2 X's. Do you have any feedback on that? Do you know what Promo Box is? Is that something you've heard of before?
I have heard of Promo Box. I haven't used it, and there's tons of tools out there that do the same or similar functions. Like I said, it's really personal preference unless you're going to actually invest money in one of these tools. I just use Feedly because it seems to integrate the best with a lot of the other tools that I use my own platform. It goes right into it via an API. So Promo Box is another one that you can sure curate and post from. I've heard of it. I've seen some people use it, but I don't have personal experience using it. I'm sorry.
I got you. But Heather, thank you so much for the comments. Keep them rolling in.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So next we're going to talk about, now that we've curated this content, we've found stuff to post, we have a means with which to post things. We want to make sure that we're not wasting time and effort trying to talk to the whole country or worse, the whole world, and that can actually happen. So there's 3 drinks for somebody, local, local, local. So there's a couple easy tips and settings that you wouldn't believe when I take over new accounts, how many of these are just set wrong. And it just blows my mind. But Here's the first one, is you go into, if you're, mind you, you have to be an admin of your Facebook page. That goes without saying for pretty much everything I'm going to say on Facebook. You have to be able to actually change the settings and post to your Facebook page. It just makes sense. And if you go into Facebook and you go into the settings area, you have all these general settings here, and this is the main one right here, country restrictions. Most of the times, this is just left blank, and what that means is that it will show it to anybody in the world, to be honest with you. So just go in there, add the United States, and check off, only show this page to viewers in these countries. That way you're only going to be targeting the United States. It makes sense. It sounds very simple, but you'd be surprised at how many people do not have that set correctly. And this is kind of a hidden feature. I call it hidden because they don't really advertise this. Facebook always adds little things and buttons and they show up. So I wanted to walk you through this really quick. This is just an example Facebook post, as it says there, with an example picture for my Repair Rep account. And there's a couple ways you can do this, but the easiest way, if you wanted to, you could target your local audience and actually pick as much as a city and state for each post individually, because maybe you want to post just people in this city or that city, depending on the style of post. And all you have to do is, when you're creating your post on Facebook, you click the little globe, click location and language, and it comes up with this screen where you can choose everywhere, by state or province, or by city. And you can even add multiple cities in there and save post settings. That way you're only targeting the people that are close to you, that are within your primary market, right? So now we've done all this, and we want to focus again on converting those social visits. So this is what it looks like. I call it a visual representation of your geo-targeted Facebook audience. The first tip to converting is targeting local. You want to find your audience. In this example right here, this store is in North Carolina. They're actually in Lexington, so I've added a couple other cities that surround it with a plus 50-mile radius search. So now I know this dealer is located right here. I've got the whole middle of North Carolina covered for this store, meaning that when I post them, and this is how they wanted it, and we can always tighten the grip if we want to, but this is who they want to market to. This is where they want to go with it, and this is what it looks like if you were to see it on a map. If Facebook doesn't allow you to see it, I wish they did have a kind of a graphical representation of that, but that's what it would look like. So this is how you're going to do it, and one of the easiest ways to help you along, in a couple different fashions, is tracking the clicks on the links on your social posts. So I recommend, and some people may disagree, I have a couple reasons for this, but use trackable URL shorteners. My favorite is Bitly, so we'll just talk about that, but Google has one, Owly has one. There's a number of them out there. Most of them are free. Some of them, like the curating services, you can pay to use. But you can also brand your shortened URL, which helps it look a little bit less spammy when you're putting that in your post. Why do I like this? Well, there's a couple reasons, more than a couple, but the two big ones are when you're posting to social networks like Twitter, for example, which we work with, it helps conserve valuable text space for those social networks. They have a 140-character limit, and the URLs, especially if you're doing it like you're supposed to, as we're going to talk about, if you deep link somebody to a piece of inventory on your website, that URL is going to be a mile long. It'll never even fit in the Twitter post by itself, so you almost have to shorten it. And the second is you can actually gain valuable insight into the landing pages that are working and those that aren't. So if you're dropping people on, if you're a Honda store and you're dropping everybody on your Honda Pilot page where you do research and such, maybe that page isn't built the best. Maybe you're doing a great job sending people there, but once they get there, the bounce rate is through the roof. Maybe they're not seeing what they expect to see there. So there's a lot that can be learned. And where do you go if you're going to use these trackable links to see? Well, there's two places you can go. The first, and everybody's favorite, everybody's really used to this one, is Google Analytics. So it's quite simple in here. I've drilled down in this graph right here to the acquisition section in Google Analytics and down another level or two to just look at the Facebook referrals. And you can see that right where the arrow showed up. Over here is where the source is coming from, and you'll see 4 different variations, which is, I'm glad you're seeing that in this example. There's the m.facebook, lm.facebook, there's just plain Facebook, and then there's l.facebook.com. These are extremely confusing because Facebook doesn't like to really say what all the different ones mean. I think we can all guess that M stands for mobile, but LM is also mobile, and L is actually also mobile.
What?
All they mean the difference. Yeah, in case you're wondering, mfacebook.com means it's coming from the Facebook app itself. So someone is on a smartphone and they have their app open. LM and L for that matter come from a browser on a mobile device. So they're not on the Facebook app, rather they're in a browser and using the mobile version of it. And then you can see down here where 35 come from just Facebook.com. Again, this leads you to realize that it's a mobile-focused world right now. Has been coming for many, many years, and we just need to realize that it's here. So a vast majority of these, 82% in this example, came from a mobile device. And what's nice about having good quality posts when you are especially doing an advertising style post and you're going to deep link them to the place on the website where it makes the most sense, where you're going to get the highest conversion, is that we have a relatively low bounce rate. I skipped it right there, but it's 35%. The other place you can go to track the links is if you use Bitly, you can go right into Bitly and get some insights for free. Again, this is the free version. So, the first off over here, you can visualize the clicks and drill down into these. And again, this helps you understand what pages are working well and how many clicks you're getting on a certain day without having to dive way deep into Google Analytics. And the pie chart over here just gives you another visualization and breaks it up to let you know just how many clients are coming from mobile or email clients, instant messenger, air apps, and direct, or just the Facebook desktop site. This is huge right here to have this data and just have it laid out so simple, right? It just makes sense. So I said this a couple times. I'm going to show you what it looks like now. Converting social visits. Deep link those valuable clicks to relevant pages on your website. I can't stress this enough, and I promise you this isn't a plug for anybody in particular, but this is why, guys and gals, it's critical to partner with a web vendor that can provide you with a completely conversion-focused website and web pages that are, of course, also mobile-friendly and preferably responsive in design. There's lots of different terminology for that. I've worked for many web vendors in the past. That's kind of where my history comes from with Reynolds and DealerTrack and ClickMotive back in the day. And we always prided ourselves on having these pages where when people landed on them, the phone numbers are right there. The form was in the top right where it's supposed to be or was supposed to be a few years ago. Call to action buttons, everything. It's so important that you partner with a good company for this, or it just won't work as well. So in this example, this is just a post that we did a while ago, it looks like, the beginning of the year. But it's for a Toyota store. Roll out this year in a brand new Toyota. Now here's the clear call to actions I was talking about. Check out the great deals, and here's a short link right there, or shop Toyota, and there's another short link right there, and there's the video they can watch and what this post is all about down here. So if somebody clicks on, well, check out the great deals, where do you think that that should go to? Too many times, if there even is a link, when I look at other dealerships' Facebook pages, if there's a link, it goes to the home page, and then we're just doing damage to ourselves. So when I click on that, it deep links right to all the Toyota incentives on that dealership's website. So now the consumer is taken to a place where they expect it to go in the first place. It lowers the bounce rate. It increases the relevance score on Facebook, and just boosts the conversion rate that much. I won't go back, but if I click on the other link to shop Toyota, well, guess what? It takes me to all the relevant models that are on special on this Toyota website. So now I have an inventory and I'm a customer and I can look at 170 vehicles and browse through. And this site is clearly conversion focused, it's responsive design, and I can click these call to action buttons or drill down in. It sounds really simple, but this is what I said in the beginning, what I think Eliana said. There are no shortcuts to making any of this work. Everything takes a little bit of extra effort, and I can't stress enough that as I look at hundreds of different Facebook pages every day and every week and every month, people are just satisfied or just resting on having a company or themselves manage, quote unquote, their Facebook page, but they're just going through the motions. They're just putting stuff up there. They're not advertising behind it effectively. They're not doing anything. So you get what you pay for. Just make sure that if you're doing it in-house, take the long road. It'll pay off dividends. And if you are paying a company to do something for you, just make sure that they're doing things the right way. And, looks like we have a poll question, Eliana.
I love it. Okay, audience, we're going to take a little break here and get to your first of 3 poll questions. It's on the screen now. We'd love it if you would get involved with our poll questions. We just want to know, are you currently using a URL shortener to deep link? Please select one of the following answers. Yes, and it works great for us. Yes, but we admit we're not consistent with it. Gosh, I don't know. Nope, don't like them, don't want them. Or what the heck is a URL shortener? And of course, Tyler wrote in, my answer is simply no. So, okay, that's fine too, Tyler. Thank you so much for writing that in. But we want to know, Tyler, if you can vote to, put number 2 on there, okay? But are you currently using a URL shortener to deep link? Yes, it works great for us. Yes, but we're not consistent. Gosh, I don't know. Nope, don't like them, don't want them, just like Tyler. Or what the heck is a URL shortener? Once we get a majority of those votes in, we're going to close the poll and share the results. We have a lot of people on today's webinar, and I'm very excited. We're also getting a lot of questions rolling in too for you, Tim. So keep those questions coming.
Great.
I'm looking forward to having a really nice, robust Q&A session with our first-time presenter, Tim Lage. So I usually joke with my audience and tell people, hey, let's see if we can stump the presenter, but I don't know. He's pretty sharp. I don't know if you can stump him. So
Let's not encourage them.
let's not encourage them. Okay. Let's not do that, audience. Okay, but thank you so much for voting in our first of 3 poll questions. Let's close this poll and share the results with you. Okay, 30% of today's audience said yes, they do currently use a URL shortener to deep link, and it works great for them. Now, the majority, 45% of today's audience, said yes, but they admit they're not consistent with it. 15% said, gosh, they don't know if they're using a URL shortener right now. 2% said, nope, don't like them, don't want them. And the remaining 8% said, what the heck is a URL shortener? So, Tim, does that help you out?
It does help me out, and I appreciate everybody that responded to that poll so much. Gosh, I can't stress the importance of using one. It's just a matter of using it correctly and just making it a habit. I'd be glad to talk more about that towards the end if you want to put some questions in for that, though, too.
Okay, if you have questions about those URL shorteners or how to use them to deep link, let's hit up some Tim Lage with that, and we'll be getting to those questions right after his presentation. Keep going, Tim. You're doing great.
All right, here we go. On to the next section here. We're going to start talking about social customer service. This is a real thing, believe it or not. It has been coming on now for many months, and I've been personally tracking this with my company, monitoring. I mean, just if I could make a graph of it, I probably should have made a graph of it to show you. It's just been trending more and more and more. And here's a couple more stats. I apologize in advance. But over 67% of consumers have used social media for customer service inquiries. That number to me, and maybe to you, should be kind of staggering. That's a large percentage of consumers that are reaching out via Facebook, Twitter, whatever, to ask questions of a variety of different kinds. Of course, we can see that younger consumers, 18 to 29, are more likely to use brands' social media sites for servicing interactions. Well, that just is logical. The younger crowd is going to maybe use them more, but they're not the only ones using it. I can assure you of that. This is a fact, and I can't stress this enough. Quality content and responsive service representatives are key to high satisfaction levels. I've heard people talk over and over about this, and I could even bring it back to how fast does your dealership respond to a lead that comes into the CRM system off the website. Should be less than 15 minutes, right? It's a sales lead. That should be the standard that you try to meet. How many of you actually call that customer within 15 minutes? Hopefully all of you are raising your hands, but the reality of it is probably not. Well, the same goes for this. This isn't a 15-minute response time. As a matter of fact, I'm unwilling to put a time that you should respond. Rather, let's just say that if somebody called your desk phone at your dealership and had a question for you, whether it was a service question, a sales lead question, a complaint, and they left you a voicemail because you were helping another customer, you want to respond to that voicemail the second you have time to do it. That same day, obviously, and as quick as possible. That same level should be done for social. I think that you should respond to it the same time frame that you respond to a voicemail from somebody. And this is kind of huge here, and this is directly from J.D. Power. 87% indicate that the online social interaction with the company positively impacted their likelihood to purchase from that company. So of those 67% that are reaching out for customer service, almost 90% of them say it impacts their choice to do business with you. And if that's not a reason to do customer service alone, I don't know what it is, right? It's just critical. You want to make sure that you're tracking everything and responding to everything. So for Facebook, since we're focusing on Facebook, I'm going to teach you guys, if you already haven't, how just to make sure that you have the settings for notifications set up properly so that when things do take place on your page, if someone leaves your review, if someone comments on one of your posts, whatever the case may be, you need to get notified about it real time. That way you can respond as fast as possible. So the nuts and bolts of it, the setup. The first is on the web. So if you go on your Facebook page on the web and go into the settings of it, you have choices here for what types of notifications and the frequency with which you want to get these notifications. I encourage you to get a notification each time there is activity on your page or an important page update. And this might be different for different user levels out there, but I would want to know if I was a store owner, general manager, or if it was my job responsibility to take care of this. I want to know everything that's going on as it happens. So I even have a new check-in from users, new mention of the page, new reviews is critical. I don't know if you guys know this, just a little side topic. Facebook reviews as a destination site for people to leave reviews months ago passed Google and Yelp combined as the destination people prefer to go to leave reviews. So if you're not monitoring those and responding to every review, you're missing the boat there. That's a whole other presentation, though. So check those off. Messages, get notified every time your page receives a message. These are private messages, and these are where I receive probably 50 to 60% of the interactions from customers. It's not just a post to the page, but usually it's a private message or a direct message, whatever you want to call it, to that Facebook page. You need to respond to those quickly. And, of course, get an email each time there's an activity on your page. So this is all for the desktop version, and that's all well and fine if you are at your desk all the time and you have Facebook open and you're looking at your screen. I'm guessing that most of you are probably out trying to sell cars and do other things, and you have other jobs to do and other functions. That's why it's even more critical that you have these settings set up properly on your mobile device. So if you go to, or I'll back up for a second. Maybe you all know this, I'm not going to take it for granted, but on your mobile device, if it's a Samsung or whatever it is, an iPhone, go out there and download the Facebook Pages app. It's free, it's from Facebook, and it will help you tremendously in managing your Facebook page when you're away from your computer. You always have your mobile phone on you. So definitely turn on push notifications. I wouldn't do the summary. Again, I want to know when things happen, and your choices are less here, but at least you know when somebody checks in, which is less important. A mention of your page, new reviews, and comments on page posts. Those are all critical. And the way you do that is if you just click on these three little dots right there and then tap on page settings, you'll be brought right to a push notification screen. Make sure you have these checked off. And you know what? It doesn't hurt if multiple people in your store are helping with this. They might want to be notified of this too. You don't want to get too many hands in the pot. Everybody has to have their role and responsibilities. But at the very least, make sure you're getting notified of what's happening on your page. It's critical. And now it comes to responding. So when and how to engage with your Facebook audience. This is unfortunate, but it's a true statistic today. 5 out of 6 social messages go unanswered. So if you got 6 voicemails on your phone from customers, a variety of different things from complaints to sales leads, and you only responded to one, maybe the sales lead one, well, you've missed the boat on 5 other potential customers there or solving somebody else's problem. We need to make sure that we do better than this. And the first step, of course, is being notified of it. And just as some evidence, just to show you some examples, and these are going to be kind of hard to read depending on your screen size. I'll walk you through them. I'm not going to read all of them, but this is a couple of real scenarios that I've run across here and that I've helped out with. So this first one, it starts from the bottom. I know it's counterintuitive, but she's basically, this is a nice review. Thank you. I blocked out the name Honda for doing the impossible. Never would have thought that I would be leaving your lot in a brand new 2015 Honda Accord. Thank you for everything. Brandon and Dustin did an amazing job. I'll share this experience with others. Thank you a million times. Shelley. So she did that 40 minutes ago, and I responded pretty quickly, hey, thanks so much for taking the time to write us. Enjoy the new Accord. And because I know the importance of getting the review on Facebook because it matters, it adds to the star rating, I asked her politely, hey, if you have time, we'd really appreciate seeing this feedback in our review section on Facebook so others have visibility. Bam, there's a short link to it. Thanks, Shelley. She responded back instantly, I'm on it. You're awesome. Thank you. That's just one example. Here's another example. So that was a positive one. Here's a negative one. You can see it starts off at ripoffreport.com/bada-bada-ba.
Oh, my, that's never a good thing.
Never a good thing, right? So she sends this link and then seconds later sends this statement oh, I'm sorry. She sends this link. I read it and look at it and respond immediately. Hey, we'll get this is at nighttime, so the dealership wasn't even open. We'll get the necessary folks involved tomorrow. Appreciate the feedback. And I go on to say, just thank you. We're going to get somebody directly in touch with you within a reasonable amount of time. She responded back immediately. Again, this is 9 or 10 in the evening. She lets me know I tried to send messages from my phone and 2 different laptops on 2 different sites, and it would not click the send button. And she's referring to the dealer's website was having trouble submitting the form. So I asked for her contact information. She sent me her name, her phone number, her email address. I said, don't worry, we'll get your concern addressed. And she went from starting with a rip-off report, from then going to, well, I've been trying to deal with this for 3 days now. Thank you for actually responding. Right? What if that was one of the 5 to 6 that went unanswered? What about this one? This one is I've lost my only set of keys to my car. How much damage is it going to cost? It's a 2000 Honda Accord SE. So I responded back because I don't know how much that costs, but this was at 12:39 in the morning. I responded back at 9:07 a.m. Hey, we're checking on this for you, Jennifer. Respond shortly with an estimate. She gave me a thumbs up. I got a hold of the service department, got the estimate, got another thumbs up, and that's a customer that actually did go in and have that key cut. It's not a big deal, but it's customer service 101. And finally, hey, this is a sales lead. This is great. I heard part of a commercial on 95.7 about Honda matching your tax refund. Is this for new cars only? And also, how much do they match up to? Thanks. That's a sales lead if I ever heard one. And I responded back, hi, Ashley, thanks for reaching out socially. We're checking to get back with your information soon. I also encouraged her to call Peggy, and I blanked out the last name. She's the point of contact I had for that store. Followed up with Peggy shortly after this, and this nice lady, Ashley, had called Peggy immediately after I sent this and got her into the store. So why wouldn't you be doing this? Why aren't you today listening and responding to your customers? And it brings us to a very quick and another poll question.
That's right, audience. This is your second of 3 poll questions, and this is a good one. We really want to know how you're doing on this. So the question is on the screen now. We'd love it if you'd vote. Are you currently getting notified to and responding to your customers socially? Please select one of the following answers. Yes, we're locked and loaded on Facebook. Yes, we're getting notified, but we're not responding consistently or in a timely manner. How about, I see some alerts, but I don't do anything with them? The 4th answer is, I got some, but I had to turn that crap off. It was so annoying. And I just want you to know, Tim said he actually heard that from somebody. So that you might be like that person, and that's okay. We just want to know what's happening at your dealership. Or the last answer is, I have no clue. Maybe someone else in the dealership does it? So the question is, are you currently getting notified and then responding to your customers socially? Please select one. Yes, we're locked and loaded on Facebook. I do get notified, but I'm not responding consistently or in a timely manner. I do see some alerts, but I don't do anything with them. Yeah, I saw those alerts. Had to turn that crap off. It was so annoying. Or I have no clue. Maybe somebody else does it in the dealership? Once we get a majority of those votes in, we're going to close the poll and share the results. And audience, you guys are great. Look how quick those votes are coming in. I love that. And Tim, I think they're really looking forward to that prize giveaway. Also, great questions coming in from the audience. Keep them rolling in. Really, really great stuff. So thank you so much. We are going to get to all of your questions as soon as the presentation ends. And Tim, if you're ready, I'll close this poll and we'll share some results.
Eliana, let's go ahead and do that.
Let's do that. All right, audience, thank you so much for your votes. Let's see what everyone else has to say. Okay, the overwhelming majority, 77% of today's audience, said yes, we are locked and loaded on Facebook. Now, that being said, 17% of today's audience said they do get notified, but they admit they're not quite responding consistently or in a timely manner. 3% of today's audience said they saw some alerts, but they don't do anything with them. And the remaining 3% said they have no clue, and they're guessing that someone else is doing it in the dealership for them. Tim?
Very interesting. Okay, well, I'm glad that 77% of you are actually getting these notifications and responding. That's actually a larger number than I thought. So kudos to everybody on the phone call. That's a great job.
Yeah, I got a smart audience. I know my audience. I love you. Okay, here we go. Back to you, Tim.
All right. So now we're going to talk about the next topic here. this is one that is near and dear to my heart. I think it's so critical. Facebook drives service ROI. Everybody loves hearing that in a presentation, right? Oh, it's going to increase my return on investment. What is it? How's it going to do it? So first, let's talk about the number one reason people like your Facebook page. Hate to break it to you, at least most of you, but I know you want to believe that people like your page because they think you're cool, or maybe your brand is cool, or maybe you look like this guy, and he is super cool. But this is not the main reason that people like your Facebook page.
He's your definition of cool? All right, just making sure.
Knight Rider all the way. Come on now.
Word.
The style of the 70s. Come on. So, yeah, David Hasselhoff would be great if he owned a dealership. Maybe he does own a dealership in Germany where he's very popular. I don't know. But the number
I'd buy a car from him, wouldn't you?
I would buy Kit from him.
That guy knows cars. Yeah, I know. I agree.
So the actual number one reason that people take the time to like your Facebook page is because they feel like they're going to get some special offers. And we all know how important, you've looked at Google Analytics on your website, the number one place, the destination, if you will, on your website that folks tend to gravitate to is your new inventory, your used inventory. But usually a close third or fourth is going to be your specials or your incentives page or something along those lines. People always want a deal. And again, it's the number one reason people are going to like your Facebook page. They expect to see deals on the Facebook page, and more than just deals or offers or specials, whatever you want to call them. Facebook calls them offers. They want to see something a little bit unique to what they can get anywhere else. Meaning that if you're looking at this example, this oil change at $39.95, and this is just what it looks like over here for an example on the desktop, maybe the deal on your primary website, you might have the same special up there, but it's $44.95. But hey, if you like our Facebook page, you can claim the offer right here and get it for $39.95, right? So these are very, very popular. And again, this is what it looks like on desktop and mobile. And there's a little tip right here, and I should have made this a little easier to see. But on your desktop, again, if you're the admin of it, you have some flexibility in this left-hand column as far as what order things show up in. Facebook mandates that this little square up here be on top and then the map. But then you can click on, it doesn't show up here, but if you hover over there, a little edit pencil shows up. You can click on that, and you can drag the order of your Facebook likes or your offers, or maybe you have some events that you want to show up there to make sure they're seen above the fold. And by above the fold, I mean before somebody has to scroll on your page. And how these work, it's really, really simple. And I encourage you to put some, and we'll get to this, but putting some ad dollars behind these too. It's well worth it, and I'll use this as an example. Here's the ad we ran. We reached 1,562 people. I put $20 behind this ad. That's it. I didn't boost it, but I created an ad and made this offer the subject of that ad. So for $20, I got 14 people that claims that. That's $1.43 per claim. Now, when someone claims an offer on Facebook, it doesn't mean that they're instantly teleported to your store and they're going to spend that money with you, as much as I'd like to think so. However, the definite intent is there because once they click the Get Offer button, almost instantly they're sent an email that looks almost just like this. To use the offer visit, I blanked out the dealer's name here, and show this email. Here's the specifics of it. When you create these offers or specials on Facebook, you always have the fine print that you can put in there to cover yourself. You have the expiration date, and people can even share the offer or like the offer. So it's also social. They can keep this offer going and going, but they get this offer, and then the intent is there for the consumer to go into your store and hopefully claim this offer within the allotted amount of time. These are great to do, and again, it's great to put some money behind these because at $1.43, I think I said, an investment per offer claim, that's a pretty good deal. When you bring somebody in the shop for a $39.95 service like this, the opportunity is there, to upsell them with belts or hoses or a 60,000 service or whatever they may need. So this is a huge opportunity that I fear a lot of dealers aren't using today. As I look through a bunch of Facebook pages out there, I see the offer section non-existent on those sites. They're really easy to create and worth doing. And this is just an example to show you some geo-targeted service offers that we've put out there that have also done some pretty good results. All of these, I never spent more than $20, $25 on any of these offers before, but an Acura store did $150 off a timing belt service. They got 18 or 13 people to claim it. This is an independent shop that I happen to work with, and they were doing what's called a Vanos rebuild on older BMWs. 17 people claim that. That's not a cheap service. It's like $500 or more. And brake pads installed for $99 an axle. 22 people claim this for this dealership over here. So this is what it looks like. The key is to make sure you're realistic with your selection of your local audience. I said local again. Because folks, as you know your market, some folks are going to drive 50 miles to save $10 in oil change. Other people won't. So make sure you're targeting appropriately. And again, I can't stress this enough. Just make sure that these specials are a little bit sweeter for your fans than they would show on your dedicated site. That's why they're liking your Facebook page in the first place. And let's not forget, again, the original reason that we even started this conversation was that less than 6% of your fans see your awesome content organically. And here's some evidence just to show you that and to drive it home. In this case study, again, I'm not going to mention the dealer just for privacy's sake, but the page that I'm talking about, this is maybe 2 weeks ago, they had, at the time, 10,238 fans. That is, by all means, that's a lot of fans for this brand, this franchise store, and where they're located. When I took over the account, they had maybe 8,000 fans, and I think it was just abnormally high, but I think that has a lot to do with them selecting vendors. They told me as much, that did things that they really weren't supposed to do without the dealer knowing, by just putting page-like campaigns out there for all over the world, all over the country, and building up their fan base very quickly, but it's going to yield next to nothing as far as results from them. So here's the first example. These are some posts that we did at Repair Rep. This is a more advertising style post. GMC Canyon earns Ward's 10 Best Interiors trophy. You can see we have a nice picture of the interior of this vehicle. We have our call to actions clear as day. Here you can research it, and here you can read the whole article. But notice, we put no money behind this, and we reached 74 people. So if we just scratch out the math really quick, well, 74 is only 0.72% of 10,238. That's way less than 6%. Let's go over here, and this is I'm showing you 3 different style posts. This is an entertainment style post, and nothing beats the intensity of opening day. Where will you catch the game, right? Here's the picture. It's nice. 102 people reached organically. Simple math says that's 1% of 10,238. And this is the best one here, guys. This is congratulations to Mr. Steve Blank on the purchase of a Chevrolet Silverado, blah, 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 blah. These are awesome. Every dealer should be doing these every single day. They get the most engagement almost out of anything. As you can tell by this super high number, 116 people are reached. That's the highest number we've seen so far in these 3 examples. And guys, I didn't just try to find the lowest ones, but simple math says that's 1.13% of 10,238. 3 different styles of post, all with super low not engagement, but super low exposure, reach, if you will. I would dare to say, and at the time I started this presentation, and I gave poor Eliana one of the title pieces here, that did you know that less than 6% of your Facebook fans see your awesome content? I wish I could go back and change it to less than 2% of your fans see your awesome content. Check your Facebook page for yourself. Prove me wrong. I would love to see what anybody is doing out there that's breaking 6% on average. It'd be hard to do. So it begs the question, well, where do I start? Well, this is the last topic we're going to talk about, and it's the largest topic. And unfortunately, again, this could be multiple day presentations. So hopefully I do a decent job of just trying to teach some folks out there, maybe showing a tip or two that you guys didn't know about Facebook advertising. We want to identify your audience. We want to engage them, of course, and we want to hyper-target those ads so we can drive more business. So before we get started, well, Tim, what does hyper-targeted mean? That sounds like something made up. I don't know if I was the one to make it up or not, but it is hyper-targeting. So let's talk a little bit about audiences first. Audiences are within Facebook, and you can build your own audience or multiple audiences and a bunch of different kinds of audiences you can build. As a matter of fact, there are 3 types of audiences that Facebook lets you build. One is called a custom audience, which allows you to do things like upload a mailing list if you have one, or hey, wouldn't you like to advertise to everybody out of your DMS system or your CRM system that bought a car 2.5 years ago and pull that report, have all those email addresses up there and those names and everything? You can upload that right to Facebook and really target those people to get out of their lease or get out of their finance when they hit that sweet spot. And the last is called a saved target group, and that's what we're going to look at first. So to get there, first just go into your ads manager, and down here you're going to see where it says audiences. I'll just click on audiences, and this is going to be very hard for some of you to see on your screen. I'm going to zoom in a couple areas. And again, this is just to give you an overview, but let's click and zoom in at the top part of this right here so you can see maybe what it looks like. We're creating a saved target group here, and the first thing we're going to do is name it. So just for the purposes of this presentation, I called this in/near, so in or near market, new buyers, and I'm pretending like I'm a Toyota store. That's the only reason I put it there. Next, we're going to see that the locations I'm focusing on, by the way, I'm talking to you guys from just south of Raleigh, North Carolina. Beautiful weather here, no rain, 75 degrees. And I've kept this very, very local, and if I was this dealer, I would probably expand this to some other local cities, but I just wanted to make this really simple for this presentation. But I'm getting ready to show you how crazy hyper-targeted you can get. For example, almost jokingly, you can choose different education levels, different languages. Here I picked they have to be a high school grad or above, even to see the ad that we're doing here, even to be part of this audience. And where it gets really cool for car dealers, probably more than any other vertical out there, is now you have this behavior section that lets you go into detail on people's finances, whether they're married or not, how much income they make, do they buy or rent a house, how big is their house. The list goes on and on and on. You can get lost in the targeting, and it's kind of scary because this is all the information that Facebook is getting off of its users. But this one right here, you can see the first title is, this is pulling from Polk. It's in the automotive section, and I'm targeting new vehicle buyers near market based on style. So those people that Facebook has seen actually click on ads or look at vehicles, crossovers, economy, full size, and down the list to small, mid-size SUV. Next, we're going to look at, again, in the automotive section, powered by Polk, new vehicle shoppers that are in market. Remember, I'm a Toyota store, so I just picked a couple here. I might have picked a couple more, but Honda, Hyundai, Mazda, Nissan, and Toyota. These are natural competitors to my Toyota franchise, so I want to know anybody that's looking for these like or comparable brands, if you will, because I want to try to capture them too and get them to buy a Toyota instead of a Honda. And finally, the last automotive section here is owners. So these are actually people that owned this brand of car. They own a Chevy car, a Chrysler, or a Dodge car, and the list goes down. They had to cut it off. And, of course, a Toyota. You want to get Toyota owners in this example. But this is what you can do, and this is why I say that you can truly hyper-target people, I think, better and easier than Google AdWords, and certainly cheaper, and we're going to talk about that. But it just makes sense to go in here and you create these audiences, because once you create these audiences, you can use them over and over again. So let's say and pretend that you've just created that audience. So that audience, let's just put it on the back burner. It's in the Facebook system. So I'm going to move along a little quicker here to stay within the allotted time frame. We're going to dig into just one of these goals or objectives that you can click. So pretend like I just click Create New Ad, then you're presented with this screen. Again, to save time, we're just going to focus on this one, the one right at the top, because it's the most popular. It's the one you should probably be focusing on and sending people to your website. Remember, get the social wanderers over to your highly converting website as fast as possible. So the next step we're going to decide is, well, who, how much, when, and where, among a few other things. So remember, when we say the who is your audience, and you're going to have an option on this screen. Again, I know it's small for you guys to see, where you can, every time you create an ad, you can go in here and manually pick all these things. But because we were smart and we created our audience, we can just select that audience and everything just automatically pre-fills in there. So the who is taken care of. Now we want to talk about, well, how much do you want to spend? And I'm just showing you where this information gets entered and how it looks. I picked a lifetime budget because I want this to end on a certain day. So I have $100 behind this. It's going to start yesterday and end on the 31st, last day of the month at 5 p.m. It says you will spend up to $100. I can almost guarantee you Facebook is really good at this. You will spend all of your $100 if you let this ad run to completion. I've very rarely had them leave so much as a penny left over, which is amazing to me, but somehow they do that. You also want to, unless you're an expert at this, just choose Facebook's Optimize for Clicks to Website. Facebook has built, and I've studied these, really good algorithms to help you and to determine automatically which ones are most likely to click on your ad, right? So the bid's going to be optimized to get more clicks to the website, and we're going to be charged every time the ad is served. Or you can pick how much you want to pay per click to a website. The next thing is, well, when and where. We already did the when, but where is it going to show up? And by where, I mean what devices do I want this to show up on? I've strongly hinted throughout this presentation that mobile is the way to go. Mobile is the way to go. And I hope that you take that to heart when you're creating your own Facebook ads. Don't waste your time, and it's hard to read this, posting anything on the desktop news feeds. When I do, I get very, very little engagement, very few clicks, and the clicks that I do get cost me 10 times more than the mobile clicks because they're so few and far between. It's shown to so many people, but so few people actually click through it. So I always just focus on mobile, and I get the best results for that. And you're going to see that when you do that, you have the option to make a single image in your ads or do multiple images in one ad. And this is a newer feature for Facebook, and we'll look at that a little closer. You know, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and this is kind of tailing off the end of what I want you to do for Facebook advertising. But you guys need to have quality graphics. It's all about the pictures, even videos you can put in ads nowadays. And I'm not sure if you knew this. This is kind of a little hidden tip that they don't advertise much about, or at least I don't see it put out there that much. You can certainly upload your own images, which we encourage you to do. Take good quality pictures and put them up there. Once you upload your images, you have your own private image library, which is a repository for every image you've uploaded. But you know what? Sometimes stock images are good, and it sucks sometimes if you want to go to Shutterstock or 123RF or any of these sites to go buy these pictures. They're included in the Facebook advertising, and there's plenty out there to choose from. In this example, I've just searched for automotive service, and I have dozens and dozens of pictures that I can scroll through and pick what I want to go through. And you can see selected images 0 of 6. I can pick up to 6 images to show for this ad. And why is that important? Because this is an example of what it could look like on a mobile ad, and I have 6 images for this ad, and for each image, I could have a different link, a different title right here, and the user on their mobile device just swipes through to look at the different ads. So really what Facebook has done is given you the ability to create 6 ads in one. It's really, really cool. It's new within the past couple months, I think couple months, don't quote me on that. But it's a great way to reach your audience and show multiple images because you never know which one's going to attract them the most. We've talked about a lot right here at Facebook advertising. We're not 100% done with it yet, but Eliana is dying to jump in again for one more quick question.
Dying. All right, here we go, audience. Your last question is up on the screen now. So we want to know, who currently manages your social media for your dealership? Please select one of the following answers. Is it, we pay a vendor to take care of all of it for us? How about, we have a hybrid solution. We co-manage it with the help of a vendor. Your third answer that you could select is that you have a dedicated full-time employee that handles it in-house. They only do social media, that's it. Your fourth answer is someone takes care of it along with all of their other duties that they have, so it's kind of a side job for somebody. Or the last answer, which is meh, we don't focus on social media, we set it and we forget it. So again, who currently manages your social media for your dealership? The votes are coming in so fast, and audience, I so appreciate you taking the time to answer this question for us. So we want to know, does a vendor take care of it for you? Do you have a hybrid solution where you have a vendor who helps you with it? You have one dedicated full-time social media person in your dealership? You have someone who takes care of it in your dealership along with all the other stuff that they have to take care of? Or social media? Meh. Who cares about that? Once we get a majority of those votes in, we're going to close the poll. Well, we already have a majority of the votes in, so let's close this poll and share the results. Are you ready, Tim?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Let's do it. All right. 4% of today's audience, only 4, said that they pay a vendor to take care of it for them 100%. Now, 30% of today's audience said that they do a hybrid solution, that they co-manage it with the help of a vendor. That seems to be very popular. 26% of today's audience, so just over a quarter of today's audience, said that they actually have a dedicated full-time social media employee who handles only that in the dealership. Now, the majority of today's audience said, now that was 37%, said that they have someone who takes care of it in the dealership who also has something else that they do at the dealership. So it's not their full-time gig, but they piled it onto somebody who already has other duties in the dealership. That's 37%, Tim. And then the remaining 4% said, meh, we really don't focus on social media. We set it and we forget it. So, Tim, What
Very
should we be
interesting
doing? I
numbers.
know it's very varied. What do you think we should be
Uh,
doing?
Well, it's interesting. To be honest with you, I think the best case scenario for dealers, in my own opinion, and yes, I am shooting myself in the foot to some extent because I offer managed social solutions. However, if I was a dealer and I can afford to have somebody that was 100% dedicated to my social presence, that's the route I would go. It's not cheap. You're going to pay somebody, depending on the area and market. I've looked on Glassdoor and all these other websites. It can be $45,000 a year salary. It can be as high as $80,000 or $90,000 a year. Again, it depends on the brand. It depends on the market. It depends on how many stores you have if you're a dealer group. But that's the first choice. The second choice would be to have it be co-managed because, again, as much as I'd like to think that I can manage somebody's social presence perfectly from Raleigh, North Carolina when they're in Sacramento, California, I'd be misleading myself and I'd be misleading the dealer. I can certainly help them and do a lot of the posting for them and be a resource for them, but nothing beats having somebody on the ground that can help with that. They can take the pictures of the customers when they bought their cars and post them. They can do short 15-second videos, bios of the entire staff there to create a story and make it more personal. I'll leave it at that, but it is very interesting to see those numbers kind of spread out, I mean, sort of evenly.
Well, here's my concern. Now, the majority, 37%, said that someone takes care of it in the dealership along with their other
Yep.
duties. My question to you, do you feel that somebody taking care of social media inside of a dealership is, in fact, a full-time job?
Again, it depends. I won't go out there and say yes 100% of the time, but it's the preferred way to do that. Yes, I think there is enough work out there if you're going to make this succeed to make it a full-time job, or at least make it part of hire a marketing person where social is a big part of their job, and then they also manage the other marketing. Maybe they work with another company for pay-per-click advertising or something. That way, all the digital stuff is held under one roof. Maybe it's an e-commerce director and he wears those multiple hats. It doesn't necessarily have to be a social media person and that's their title per se, but there needs to be somebody that's over everything digital in every store, I think, that knows about it, that knows how to read these reports. Because unfortunately, I just think a lot gets missed if this isn't done with somebody focusing 100% of their time on this.
Okay, audience, thank you so much for participating in our poll questions. We're going to get back to Tim's presentation now.
Okay, great. So I've talked about this quite a bit, a mobile-first approach. Target customers where they frequent the most, mobile devices. It makes sense. This stat was in one of the first slides that I showed. Remember, more than 850 million people visit Facebook every day. 700 million are on mobile, 82% of them. So what does a mobile-first approach look like? Well, this is just an example, nothing but eye candy for you to look at and see some of the examples that we've done for other dealers on mobile. Everything from boosted post campaigns. So, I mean, this dealer, for example, works with the university, and they offer anybody, alumni at the university, students, parents, you get the idea, a certain price discount on their vehicles. Right, so we hyper-targeted these people that just go to that university or are associated with it. It's hard to see down here, but you can see school, Vanderbilt University School of Nursing, Owens Graduate School of Management, blah, 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 blah. So we're targeting just those people. This is a clicks campaign to drive conversion. So what we're doing here is we're talking about this truck, and this is the new models now. So we want to get people to, and this audience is big, but again, it's very focused, to click deep link into the website and learn about that. Service offers, again, can't stress these enough. Make them local, anybody that's willing to drive in for service. And then maybe you can just do seasonal ones that are up for 3 months at a time, like a fall service package plus, and just make the deal a little bit sweeter, like I said. And of course, if you think it's necessary, and I can help with this, if you want to run a page-like campaign to grow your local audience, I strongly recommend it. As a matter of fact, there should be all of these running at all times. Kind of a recipe, if you will. As a matter of fact, we'll take a look at that really quick. I have what I think is a pretty balanced ad recipe for Facebook that works. At the very least, it's a fantastic starting point, and you can add as many pieces to this pie as you want to. And we can look at this really quick. Up on the top left, this is a website clicks campaign. Remember, that's the one we chose when we went through Facebook advertising. This is what you guys should be focused on primarily, I would say. So we want to drive website conversions. We want to deep link them to that page on your website where you can then get the conversion to happen. And something I haven't mentioned because there's so much to talk about is Facebook actually has what they call conversion tracking pixels. I know it sounds weird, but it's a little snippet of code. And to get really nitty-gritty about this, and I encourage you to get really nitty-gritty about this, you want to drop these little snippets of code on your conversion pages. So if you have a landing page for a 2015 Toyota Tacoma, have your web vendor, you have to provide them the code from Facebook, and I'd be glad to teach you guys how to get that code. They put it in between the head tags on your page, and it will actually track the conversion. So if it went from Facebook to that page on your website, then that code tracks whether or not they took the desired action. Maybe it's filling out a form or clicking this button or that button. It's really, really cool what you can actually track and get down to what's working and what's not working. Growing your fan base, again, growing your fan base locally. I would encourage you always to have a page-like campaign running in the background. You guys can determine the budget. This is just my recipe here. Service offers campaign, I would always have 2 or 3 or more, 4 offers available on your Facebook page at any given time, and put some money behind them. Again, it doesn't cost much. Facebook is really cheap right now, but they're making you pay to play. At the end of the day, that's what you have to do. And of course, boosted post campaign, reach fans and engage. A lot of people out there, and I know this, trust me, do not like, or they have, it's a negative connotation when they hit the boost now button. It's changed, it's evolved, and let's just call it, when you post something out there and you go ahead and just boost the post, it's the easy way out. It is the shortcut approach, which is okay sometimes, but you have a lot less flexibility on what you can do and who you can target versus putting the post out there and then jumping into the Facebook ads tool or even the Power Editor and going in and doing it the right way and targeting your fans with the audiences like we talked about before. So it's critical. And again, each pie section could be different with a different goal, and you can add more pieces to this pie. But this is a good starting point. It's one that I like to use when I take over a brand new account and start from here and then kind of mix it up from there. So what should I expect to invest? Don't yell at me, and please don't make this a bunch of questions at the end, because I did my best to try to figure out what these numbers are, and feel free to yell at me and tell me I'm wrong, because some of you are out there and you're going to think these numbers are really high or really low, one of the two. But the average cost per click for automotive on Google's ad network is between $1.30 and $2.50 or more, I should say, or less also. But it's somewhere in that neighborhood. I know it's been dropping recently, but even if we say it's $1 per click, and it depends on keywords, it depends on a number of things. I get that, but that's just the average. And what we're seeing at Repair Rep when we focus on those website click campaigns is our average cost per click is 30 cents. In many instances, it's 25 cents or even 19 cents. And that's extremely low. It's a whole lot less than Google is right now. And I can't say for how long it's going to be like that, but it's very enticing, and the rewards are there. And something else worth noting is that Repair Rep is also averaging a 2.14 click-through rate on our website clicks campaigns. That's 2.14% click-through rate on the website campaign. So what the click-through rate is, it's the ratio of ad clicks to impressions, and this is more than double the average that I was able to research online, which was a little bit less than 1% CTR. And by the way, on mobile news feeds, the CTRs are higher than the desktop by 2%, so just another reason to use mobile. So when it comes to a budget, again, it depends. This is very general. It depends where you are, the market, what you're trying to do. But the average that I start dealers off with is between $750 and $1,000 a month, which I would imagine is much less than you're used to spending if you do pay-per-click or have a company do that for you. It's probably less than that. But it's a good goal to start with, and we can always flex month to month to figure out which works best to you. And you can certainly look at that by finding out what is working and what's not working. So here's the last tip for you guys with the Frowny Stat Base. It's a little-known hack. I don't know that it's really a hack. I haven't broken Facebook to do this, but it's something that I stumbled across, and I was really happy when I found this. So I want to share it with you guys. I was really excited. And maybe I'm the last person to know this, and I'm really showing you guys that I know nothing. But nonetheless, this is the dealership that we work with, okay? It's a Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram store. This is a post we did. It was just an engagement-style post. We weren't trying to drive traffic anywhere. We're just talking about this article. It was a local thing going on in the community. And you can see down here, we got a pretty good engagement. We spent a couple bucks on it, reached 2,400 people, had 18 people like it. did you know that, again, if you're the business manager or the admin of that page, if you click on the 18 people, it brings up this wonderful little window that says invite people who like this post to like your page. And then over here on the right, there's just simple invite buttons. And there was 18 people, and almost every time when I have a good engaging post out there, 50 to 60% of the people that liked the post don't even like the page yet. They saw it because it showed up in their newsfeed in the advertising. So I go in, again, this is no shortcut. There's no easy way to do this, but I go in and I invite. In this instance, I ended up inviting 12 people, 10 of which accepted the invite within 3 or 4 hours. It's a free way to get Facebook likes, piggybacking off of what you're spending on your local advertisements. So I thought that was pretty cool to share with you guys. I do it all the time, and I get as many as 50 to 100 likes per Facebook page for quote-unquote free. And they're all local people, too, which is nice.
Well, I'll tell you, Heather wrote in, she says, great hack. And Margene wrote in, she says, I do that. It works. And Bob wrote in, great tip. So thank you so much for that. Other people liked it, too.
I appreciate the feedback. I was very proud of myself. I can pat myself on my back. We're at the end here, but I wanted to, I know we've gone over the time a little bit. I'm sorry, Eliana. I'm sorry, everybody. Thanks for staying on the phone. I know you want that Apple Watch, but I promised you one piece of bonus information that's not really related directly to Facebook at all. And you guys, many of you probably are aware of this or not aware of it. I don't know, but I'm going to throw it out there. The social network brands, a lot of big brands are using successfully with 100% organic reach. It's just the opposite of everything I talked about with what we're seeing at less than 2% on Facebook organic reach. And lo and behold, it's Instagram, which is owned by Facebook. Imagine that. So Instagram is the network that if you're not already on proactively using it for your dealership, you might want to consider it. But just a few notes on that before you just jump in head first. And I like jumping in head first, trust me. But you need to have somebody at the store that's taking the photos and the videos and posting. The reason being is there's no desktop version, and that's intentional from Facebook/Instagram. You can't go up there and upload photos in a desktop version. There might be some hacked website where you can do it, but it's not their intention. It needs to be more of a real vibe coming from it where it's on the spot, you took a picture and you posted it. And the bigger thing here is, and you can do advertising on Instagram. I think they opened it up a year ago or so. But it's necessary if you want to get more followers and more engagement. You need to, more than any other network, proactively engage, follow, and comment on what everybody else is doing, as well as using appropriate hashtags and location to your images to tag other people or other companies so that they can follow you and then repost it to their network. I would also say that posting needs to be a lot more frequent than any other network. I don't know what you guys are doing today. For Facebook, for example, as far as public posts that people see, I maybe do 3, maybe 4 per week for a dealership, and that's it. However, on the ad side, I always have stuff running in the background. Instagram, at least once a day I put out there. I see lots of people do it 2 to 3 times a day. That's why it's critical to have somebody in the store that can do that and that enjoys doing it. This is an opportunity for you to tell your brand story with imagery and video. If you want to, just a couple places you can check out OEM pages. You can check out any of them, but Toyota USA is really good. Honda's really good. There's a long link down here, and I'm sure we can get this stuff to you after the presentation, but there's actually a case study for a Mercedes dealership on how they were successful using Instagram, and they have a whole website, business.instagram.com, that will help out any business understand what they kind of need to do before they jump in with 2 feet. So I encourage you guys to look at that because you can't beat 100% reach. So we're finishing up here. We have some suggested resources. I put some up here that I'd like for you guys to jot down. I know this is going to be available online after the show and everything, but Facebook for Business, it's the obvious one out there, facebook.com/business. Go there. Read everything up there. There is a wealth of information, and Facebook all but tells you what they want you to do to be successful. And don't be surprised, again, like any other, like you would expect, they don't want you to take any shortcuts. They want you to do it the right way. They want their users, their 1.4 billion users, to have the best experience and the best things show up in their newsfeed as possible. I put this Sprout Social, our extendables up there. I'm sorry, this is a good blog site. They're updating stuff all the time, little tips and tricks. It's really good for that. Sprout Social. This is a link I have up here for a current social media image size guide. Anybody who's ever managed social, this is an absolute nightmare. It drove me nuts when I started this business 2 years ago, trying to figure out what size is the Facebook banner compared to the Google banner, compared to the profile picture, and how big does the offer image have to be compared to the Facebook post. It just goes on, and Twitter has their own, Google has their own. That link right there is always updated. It's like my Bible for image sizes. So you click on that, scroll down, find out what the size needs to be, and you can make your graphic that way. Social media today is a great resource for everything about social media. It's not focused specifically in the automotive industry, but it does help a lot understand the trends that are going on in the social community. Of course, there's always my website, Repair Rep. I have a news and updates section that I update at least once a week with maybe there's some product updates, some news updates, some helpful tips, so check that out. And of course, at the end, email me directly, tim@repairrep.com. I'm here to help you guys. I hope that I was able to impart at least a piece of wisdom to each of you today, even if it was just one takeaway. That would make me really, really happy. And so for some homework for you guys, it sounds like a lot of you are already there, but make sure you have a tool that you like that's simple to use to curate fun and relevant stories and post them. Make sure you go in and check your Facebook location settings. I can't stress that enough. That's the first place I go, and I always find problems there. Turn on your notifications. I know a large percentage you said you already had those turned on. For those that didn't or weren't sure, go make sure you do that today. That's the number one thing. You want to make sure that you're getting those messages from your customers. Create the service offers. Make them unique. Make your fans feel special. That's what they want. And identify your Facebook objectives. Remember that recipe that I showed you with the 4 pie chart pieces? Yours might look different than that. It may have 8 pie chart pieces. It may have 2. But you need to identify what your goals and objectives are, and I'd be glad to help you identify those as well. But at the end of the day, you need to start advertising on Facebook to get real results. I would be so bold as to say that if you're on Facebook today actively, meaning you're posting several times a week, and you're not spending any money for the advertising or to put behind your posts, you're wasting your time. I would just turn off the Facebook page and not even do it. I know that sounds silly because you can still collect reviews, so don't turn off your Facebook page. I was kidding. But you need to start advertising if you want to get any results, or you can just keep posting stuff out there and spending your time and money or paying somebody else to do it and get very few results on that. So at the end, that is it, and it looks like we'll ask our experts. That's you, Aliana. They're going to ask you some questions.
They're going to ask me? Somehow I don't think I'm the one they want to hear from, but thank you so much, Tim. That was chock full of great information. Wow. Audience, I hope you'll agree. And certainly if you have questions, we do have a number of questions already in the queue. So if you have questions for today's Dealer On webinar presenter, Tim Lage from Repair Rep, now's the time to write those questions in. Okay, so hey, so we're going to get to those questions in just a second, but I understand that we are giving away something. What, Tim? I kind of forgot. What are we giving away?
What? I don't know what that is.
That's right. It's that time. If you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, well, I announced that our good friends at Repair Rep, they're giving away just the best prize ever. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win an Apple Watch. Not that I need to tell you so much about it, but let me just say this is the latest technology release. It is a beautifully constructed, compact smartwatch. It's feature-packed with solid fitness, software, hundreds of apps, the ability to send and receive calls via an iPhone, and so much more. The Apple Watch is the hottest, most ambitious wearable tech device on the market, and it's valued at over $350. All you have to do is answer a simple, well, maybe not so simple, question about today's presentation. So everyone, get ready. Get to your keyboards. First one to write in the correct response will be walking away with this cool prize today. Good luck, everyone. Of course, vendors, you know we love you, but we're going to ask you, I know, as much as it pains me to tell you, to please sit this one out. This prize is intended for dealership personnel only. All right, here we go. Good luck, everyone. Here is the question. This is not an easy question. I hope you were paying attention. The question is, what is Repair Rep's average click-through rate on Facebook website click campaigns? Holy moly, I didn't think anyone was going to catch that. I cannot believe how many of you got it. Unbelievable.
Really?
I am totally in shock. I can't even believe it. And I want you to know the very first person to write in got it right. So congratulations.
That's awesome.
Heather Paquette, you are today's winner. I am writing down your name, Heather
Heather, let me give you a
Paquette.
shout out really quick. That's awesome. Congratulations, and you'll be glad to know. Eliana didn't mention this because she didn't know to, but you may or may not be aware the Apple Watch comes in two sizes, a 38 millimeter and a 42 millimeter. One is the lady size, one is the men's size. So make sure you share with Eliana which size you prefer because I will make sure that you get the one that fits your wrist the best.
Oh, Heather, congratulations. Write in and let me know your dealership name and your mailing address too, so we can get that watch out to you as quickly as possible. And by the way, for those of you who didn't get it right or were just curious, the answer is 2.14% is Repair Rep's average click-through rate on Facebook website click campaigns. So congratulations. I honestly, I got to tell you, Tim, I thought you made it too hard because you just kind of mentioned it off the cuff and like, no
Uh,
one's gonna get that. Oh my God, I can't believe so many people got it right.
we have a smart crowd.
So, congratulations, Heather. Heather, I still don't know what dealership you're from. You do pay attention. Congratulations. Okay, Heather is from Whiteman Chevrolet, and she's going to write in her mailing address now. Congratulations. Of course, huge congratulations to you, Heather Paquette. And of course, we want to thank our good friends at Repair Rep for their incredible generosity. Audience, thank you so much for playing along. Don't worry, we give away prizes every week. But this one is going to be coming to you, Heather, from our good friends at Repair Rep. So thank you so much. Let's get to some of those questions. Are you ready, Tim?
Yeah, I am ready.
Okay, we do have some people who need to go because this webinar went extremely long. So
Sorry.
for those of you who do have to go, we love you. Thank you so much for being here today. Yes, we are recording this, and yes, I will send out the link to you later today. If you do not get it before the end of today, then something went wrong, and email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com, and I will get that link out to you. Or just go to dealeron.com/webinars and click on the link on the right-hand side for on-demand webinars, and it'll be at the top of the list. All right? All right, so let's get up here to some of our first questions. Okay, I just want you to know, first comment that came from David. All right? And David wrote in, so that tip alone was worth my entire hour today. And I wrote back to him, what tip are you talking about? And he says, I knew you could use location targeting for Facebook ads, but I didn't know that you could do it with normal posts. This guy is great. So I just want you to know it's him. David really appreciated that. That was a big one for him. Lisa quickly wrote in after that, and she said, where are you finding that locations setting or find locations in setting? She only sees the option to choose US, but not local cities plus 50. Thanks. That's what she wrote. So
All
I
right.
was wondering if there was a
So
to tell her to go to.
two different places. The one in the settings that I talked about is the overall settings, and you want to set that to the country you're in, United States. When you're actually doing the individual posts, if you go to Facebook and you start to create a new post, you'll see a little globe on the bottom of the square where you're posting, and if you click on that, you'll see something that says location, and then when you click on that, it brings up the option for you to pick as far down as the city and state.
Ah, fantastic. All right. Thank you so much for that question, Lisa. I really appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Next question comes to you from Kate. Hey, Katie, how you doing? She says, are you able to see what browser or type of mobile device, i.e. smartphone, iPad, Android phone, that kind of thing, from Facebook?
Not from Facebook you can't, but you can from Google Analytics. If you drill down deep enough, it'll show you the devices that people are coming in on. I'm curious to know why the value in that, and I'm sure you have a reason for it, because I mean, I want to know percentage of mobile traffic, maybe tablet traffic, but it used to be I cared about what devices they were on when they were in their infancy years ago. I needed to know if they were on an iPhone versus not a full-featured smartphone, but you can certainly track that stuff. You can drill down into Google Analytics and see if it's not from within Facebook itself.
That's wonderful. Kate, if you have a follow-up question, you know you can always write on in. All right.
Right, Kate, thank you.
Now, your next question actually comes from today's winner, Heather. She
Hi, Heather.
says, so you use these trackers in addition to using the analytics from Facebook?
The trackers, I think you're talking about the URL shorteners, I guess. I'll have to presume that. I do, yes, because there's two different sets of data, and you can get them all from Google Analytics potentially, but it's so much easier if you are talking about Bitly, I can go in there and just take a quick look at the report and see which links I put out there were more popular than the other links, and just based on that data and the context of it, I can then determine a couple things. I can determine the posts that are more engaging, and I can also determine the links that provide the best experience for, I guess, the Facebook user, and that could be on the website side of it. So if they're on Facebook, they click on and they go to your website, hopefully they have a good landing page or they can have a really good experience on there and convert. If they don't have a good experience and they land on the home page instead of the Toyota Tacoma inventory page, they're going to have a bad experience. And those Bitly analytics just help me digest that a little bit more. And on top of that, there are many tools out there. We use one of them internally that integrates with Bitly, for example, so that I can build reports and track how many clicks each link got real time within the reports without ever having to go into analytics. And I believe a lot of other tools are integrated with Bitly as well. So it's a good all-around benefit tool.
I think that's awesome. And Heather said, yes, that does answer that. By the way, back up one question to Katie's question. She said she's looking to possibly create ads dedicated to iPhone users and or Android users, that kind of thing. That's why she was wondering.
Yeah, and that's fine. You can certainly go in there and see that and see the operating system the device has, and that gives away the device itself in Google Analytics, though.
Right. Okay. So let's get up to some more of these questions over here. Fantastic. Okay. Next question comes to you from Carolina. Hi, Carolina. Nice to see you on the show again. Great question. She says, will you give us some examples, a couple examples, of dealerships that you think do an excellent job on their Facebook page?
Sure. They're all going to be my clients.
Way to go, Tim. Keeping it simple.
Well, I mean, I'm just selfishly saying that, but you can go check out, I'm sure they wouldn't mind me mentioning them. You can go check out, there's one in Tennessee called Don Ledford. Don, like the Don, Ledford Auto Park, Athens. There's two Don Ledford, so make sure you look at the one in Athens, Tennessee, not Georgia. And you can also look at Gary Force Acura. They're in Nashville, or just south of Nashville. They're an Acura store, obviously. Gary Force Acura. You can take a look at their Facebook pages. I'll give you one more also, just for a variety, because I mix it up with all of them. They all have different objectives. There's a small store I just took over, so I'm just in the process of doing it. So take that with a grain of salt. But it's called M&L, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and they're in a small town called Lexington, North Carolina. And if you check out those, you can see some of the offers, how we change up the Facebook banners and the imagery and post things and create events on some of them if they have some coming up.
Oh, wonderful. All right, Carolina, if you have a follow-up question, you know we love hearing from you. All right, your next question comes to you from a different Katie, actually.
Cool.
Okay, she says, how many emails can receive these notifications? Where do you add additional emails? So I'm guessing she's talking about the Facebook notifications?
Yeah, she is. So that's all going to be determined by the roles and permissions settings in Facebook. So, for example, and I'm trying to remember all the roles off the top of my head, but you can go in there, for example, and maybe, I think it was Katie, you're the admin of that Facebook page. So you would have access, when you set up those notifications, you would certainly get notifications. Maybe you have somebody else in the store that co-managed it with you. Well, they would also get those notifications if they're an admin. There's some lower levels where you can just be an editor, or maybe you're just a marketer, and I think there's even one more. And if you go lower than the administrative level, maybe it's even lower than the content level, then they will not receive any notifications. Those people only have access to help input onto any alerts or notifications from it. So I think it's the admin level and one below that. I can't remember what it's called, but that determines who gets the notifications, if that makes sense.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right, Katie, give it a shot. And of course, you can always contact Tim directly if you would like some further help on that, okay? So thank you so much for that question. We still have a ton of questions, so let's try and answer them as quickly as possible, okay, Tim?
I'll try.
All right, your next question comes to you from Marty, rhymes with Smarty, right? Marty says, I often find that most of our client interaction on our page is after hours, much like the examples you shared. Is this pretty common for everyone?
There are some peak times of day, and again, I have to throw out there, it depends, but we have a system in place that actually tries to track when the best time is where you'll get the most engagement, and it changes. It's always evolving. For example, the three popular time frames, if you want, are somewhere between 9:45 and 10, 11:45 in the morning, then again in the afternoon after 2 o'clock to maybe 3:30, and then again in the evening when people either get home or they're the last ones in the office and they start to browse Facebook. Those are the three main times. We try to focus, obviously, on putting things out there at the time that will get the most engagement. And another little tip that I do is when I post things socially, I always try to post it at, it sounds funny, but about 13 minutes before the hour. So if I want to post something in the morning, I might have it delivered at 9:47 a.m. The reason being is that's kind of a sweet spot between not being too early in the morning, people just got to work, but they're getting ready to go into their 10 o'clock meeting, right? So the last thing they're going to do is go on their social media and check everything out. So that's a great time to post. And that goes throughout the day. Just post in the kind of odd times before the hour.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you so much for that, Marty. Love talking to you. Kelly wanted me to let you know. She says, just had to say, already getting likes from the hack. So thanks. I love it. I love it. Okay, Tyler wrote in. He says, I'd love to see that MB case study. What is the link?
I'll share that with you, Eliana. It's a long link. I can back up to it again here. Hold on.
If there's any way you can, well, if you can put it up on the screen, that'd be great. If you can put it into the chat feature, then I can share it with the entire audience. Or if you just want to put that link, that's fine too. Okay, so while he's doing that, let's get to our next question. Again, another one from Heather, today's winner. She says, are you finding deals are more of a driver than giveaways or contests on your Facebook pages?
More of a consistent driver. It's something that I feel like, where you have deals or you have these other things, polls that you can even put up there. Those are great, and I like those a lot to get quick initial engagement. But to have a good, steady engagement, and again to drive traffic to your service department, which unfortunately I see nobody out there really focusing on, either social vendors or just the dealerships that they're managing it themselves. I think it's the best way to get more business, incremental business to your service department than any of the other ones, period. The other ones are great, again, for an instant gratification, lots of engagement, and you might get some business out of it, but there's no official way for anybody to claim an offer and then bring it to the store. So it's a little bit different.
Gotcha. All right, great question. Thank you very much for that. We still have, over a handful of questions, so let's try and get to these. Katie writes in, do these Facebook ads need to be approved by the OEM for compliance prior to posting? Ooh, good question.
That's a great question, and it used to be that that OEMs didn't look too much at Facebook, but I've noticed here in the past several months, especially the big ones like Honda and Acura and Toyota, they're it depends on how you look at it, they're a nightmare when it comes to all their OEM specifications, how big the logo has to be, how many pixels away from everything else. So they are starting to look at that, and we just need to be careful that we are using verbiage that is consistent with what the brand says is okay. So, Acura doesn't want you to say, we have deals on Acuras, they have incentives, or whatever it is their terminology is. And we know that you can't capitalize the name of the dealership. It can't be Tim Lage, all caps Acura. It's Tim, lowercase I-M-L-A-G-E, Acura. So you do have to follow it to a degree. They're not looking at them nearly as consistently as the actual primary website, but they are considering it an extension of the website. So it's something that you should be concerned about. Not overly concerned yet, but I think things are trending that way where OEM compliance is going to have to be something that's taken seriously.
Got you. Okay. I heard back from Tyler, and he did, in fact, write this link down, so you can go back to your contact page now. Thank you so much for that. Kate, great question, Katie. Thank you so much. All right. Lisa has the next question. Lisa says, have you experienced a drop in reach after promoting posts, then those not promoted don't get the reach that they did in the past?
Say it again.
I know, I read it exactly as it was written.
I want to make sure I understand this.
Have you experienced a drop in reach after promoting posts, then those not promoted don't get the reach that they did in the past? So I guess once you start spending the money on promoted posts, do you find that the posts that you used to not spend money on, that used to get decent engagement and decent reach, don't even get close to that anymore?
So the simple answer is no. I think it at first I even thought so, thinking back a few months. And in reality, what it was, because I A/B tested this, is that it wasn't that my organic reach was declining because I was doing Facebook advertising. My organic reach was declining because Facebook keeps changing their newsfeed algorithm. And you saw the three breaking news things that I put, I think, in my second slide up there. It's just the way Facebook is going. I don't think that one is because of the other. I think that, I know that, this is a quote from Facebook, you simply have to advertise to reach anybody nowadays. And on the flip side of that, when I look at all my analytics, when I start advertising, if I look at a 30-day picture of I just advertised for this Facebook page this past month, and I look at their month-over-month organic reach, it actually goes up double or triple from what it was the month before, because I've been advertising. So I see my organic reach actually going up, not tremendously, but it flows up because people that see the ads then potentially share that or share this or do what they do socially, and it gets more visibility organically to the Facebook page than it would otherwise. That's what I've seen.
Okay. Lisa, thank you so much for the question. And she writes in, thanks. All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. All right. Let's get to these last handful of questions. Brett, I know you've been waiting a while for this one. How do we access the recording of this webinar? Brett, I'm going to email you that link. However, if you, for some reason, don't get emails from me at Eliana@dealeron.com, you can go to dealeron.com/webinar. And there's a link on the right-hand side for on-demand webinars. Or it'll say, did you miss a webinar? And then you can click on that link, and it'll have every webinar we've ever recorded. And you know what? The most recent one is at the top. So it should be very easy for you to find. All right, Brett, thank you so much for the question. Okay, next question comes to you from Brad. He says, how do you feel about Snapchat account for dealerships? It seems like they're catching on, but I'm still not sure. I'm still not a fan. What do you think?
So, it's part of my job to look at all, gosh, there's so many other social networks out there. Tumblr and Reddit and Twitter we didn't talk about, Google+, which is not doing so great, and Snapchat. I don't have any experience, I'll be honest, trying to implement it in a dealership. I've tried Pinterest and some of the other ones, Instagram and all that stuff, but to be honest with you, no. I've read about it, and I fall into the lines of, although I am an early adopter when it comes to everything technology, and when I do decide to do something, I go all in to make it work or not work, fail quickly or make it succeed. I say go for it and see how it works for you, and if it's not working for you after a short period of time, 30 to 45 days, take it off and don't waste your time anymore. I haven't seen enough evidence personally in any of my research to say that that's a route that I'm willing to invest my time and money in at this point. It's kind of like, for example, Twitter advertising. It's something that I haven't jumped on board 100% yet because and I'm messing with it and I'm playing with it to see what kind of results it yields. But I'm just sorry, Facebook is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. 1.4 billion users. I forget how many it said every day, but that's where I would still focus the majority of my effort is Facebook, and second to that, Twitter. So honestly, I'm sorry, I know it's a long answer, but I don't know a whole bunch about Snapchat in the dealer environment. Let me know how it goes. Tell me.
Okay, all right. Brad, thank you so much for the question. Okay, really fast. Susan says, do you recommend a social media calendar or planner?
I do, but I used to recommend them more in the past than I do today. I think that you should use a social media calendar for I don't know what to call them, but just for your advertising style posts where you're curating. If you're a BMW dealership, you're curating all sorts of cool stories about this new BMW or this review about this BMW or this road test. You can certainly schedule those out, but when it comes to I always leave room throughout the week. Remember, I do 4 to 5 posts a week for dealers. I always leave 2 or 3 spots open for which come up or which just going to come up, so you can do it on the fly, like events or promotions that are coming up. Dealers always have that on a Thursday. They call me up. We want to do something for this weekend. You got to leave room for that, and you can't schedule it. And plus, if you schedule everything out too far in advance, to be honest with you, from a human perspective, it looks scheduled too far out. So just be careful with that. I don't schedule anything out further than a week or 2 tops.
Okay.
That's just what I've corrected.
Okay, last 3. If you had a question in, we're getting into them right now, all right? Allison, Tyler, and Michael, here we go. Allison says, now this is very specific, so let's see. We should just need your advice. We have 4 dealerships, 4 different service centers, a collision repair center, and a rental department. We have a Facebook page for our 4 dealerships, but we also have Facebook pages and Twitter and Google Plus and LinkedIn accounts for our service centers, collision repair, and rental department. Needless to say, these Facebook pages have very low numbers and not much traffic. In your opinion, is it better to combine them all? Are we diluting our message by having too many pages? We have Ford and Acura in one city and Kia and Hyundai in another city. To clarify, I know we should keep the 4 dealerships separate, but the others like service and rental, should those be separate? They have a lot going on here, Tim. How do you set that up for some dealership like that?
But they do, and I would just break it down very logical, because even before this question came up for social, it came up years ago when I was working at ClickMotive, and there's a vendor that I won't name out there that thought it was a great idea for organic reach to have a primary website for your, tinlageford.com, and then they would have tinlagefordservice.com, tinlagefordparts.com, and they would have all these primary URLs, and it turns out that Google ended up hating that notion. But more than that, it just needs to be logical. So if you have 4 different franchises, then you need 4 different Facebook pages, one for each different brand, right? Now, if you have I think you said you had 2 Ford stores. Is that right, Eliana?
No, she has a Ford and an Acura and a Kia and a Hyundai.
Okay, so 4 different brands. So you need 4 different Facebook pages, and if it were me, I would do away with all the extraneous pages and focus all your efforts on those 4 pages. You can cover service, as we talked about, with service offers on there. You can certainly cover sales and every other aspect of your dealership on that primary Facebook page. It leaves you 1 Facebook page to monitor out there, 1 to market, and makes your advertising a buttload easier. So yeah, I would consolidate into just the 4.
Okay, there you have it. Allison, if you need more help, I would say contact Tim directly and see how he might be able to help you, all right? Okay, next question comes to you from Tyler. He says, can you recommend a vendor that can help me with reputation management? And it also goes with Michael's. He says, can you help businesses improve their Facebook reach, or do you work only with dealerships? So kind of the same question. Tim?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, it's in my name, oddly enough. Repair Rep stands for reputation. So it's one of the 3 core pillars, if you will, that Repair Rep focuses on is reputation. It's a whole other topic, but it is something that we offer. And if I was going to recommend a vendor, I would recommend myself.
I would recommend you too, Tim.
do a great job out there. And we're actually one of the few, just because we're talking about Facebook, that our reputation tool that goes out there and scrapes the internet for where all the reviews are, whether it's DealerRadarCars.com, Google+, we pull in Facebook as well. We were one of the first ones to pull in Facebook reviews over a year ago. And I think we're still one of the only ones that pulled that in. So we absolutely do reputation. And I think the second part of the question was, do I focus only on car dealerships?
The second one is from Michael. Yeah, and he says, can you help businesses improve their Facebook reach, or do you work only with dealerships?
So my focus is, for the past 20 some odd years has always been automotive dealerships, but I would be remiss in lying if I didn't tell you that I had some other accounts that I help that are in various other industries, whether it is even just an independent car shop or doctor's offices and such. I do take on other accounts. Usually they're word of mouth accounts. I don't promote or advertise myself to do that. But if you have something in particular that you're interested in me looking at, I'd be more than happy to talk with you because I can certainly help any vertical market. I just know an awful lot about automotive.
Thank you so much. Great question, Michael and Tyler. Thank you. And Tim, that was a phenomenal presentation. We're getting so many great reviews already. And audience, thank you. Just thank you so much. That was really, really wonderful. I hope you'll do another webinar with me soon.
I hope you'll invite me to.
Okay. I want to remind the audience that, yeah, we recorded this. We're going to send you that link later today by email. This webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. Just go to dealeron.com/webinars. You can view our upcoming webinar schedule or access any of our past webinars too. And Tim, you can turn off your webcam and go to the next slide if you wouldn't mind, because guess what, audience? This webinar is going to conclude in just a moment, and when it does, you're going to receive a short survey. I got to know what you thought of today's presentation because, I thought he did wonderfully, but I would love to know your feedback. So please fill out that short survey, and we want you to know that we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all those completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. And is the recording going to have slides as well? No, Amy, but if you'd like the slides, email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com and tell me you'd like those slides, and I'll send them to you in a PDF format, okay? Now, invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next Dealer On webinar. Tips and tricks to engage customers and turn shoppers into sales. Smart dealers know that you need to match the right car with the right customer as quickly as possible in order to sell more cars and turn shoppers into repeat happy customers. In this insightful 1-hour webinar presentation, Matt Lamoureux and Heather McKinnon of Car Story are going to spill all their secrets about how to engage more customers and turn shoppers into sales. They're going to share innovative strategies and best practices and discuss how cutting-edge dealerships are successfully leveraging big data to uniquely position their inventory to sell more cars. Attendees will also hear how to discover which calls to action convert more leads to buyers, how to pricing research to help position cars to sell quickly, how to identify which vehicle features to showcase and to which customers, how to differentiate your vehicles from those of your competitors, how to get acquainted with your customers and their used car shopping preferences, how to understand your customers' used car shopping and buying process, and how to use a checklist to maximize the merchandising and pricing of your inventory. So if you're ready to learn tips and tricks to engage customers and turn shoppers into sales, then this is one webinar you simply can't afford to miss. Don't forget, Dealer On's weekly webinars are held Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, hey, contact me directly. My name again is Eliana Raggio, and I love to hear from you. So track me down online, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and any one of the automotive social networks, or email me directly